Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our X Growth Show. It's our part 16. So far, we have done 15 parts of these live streams, and absolutely, people are loving it. And our only goal here to have fun and exchange ideas, and still making sure is everyone is getting the value out of it. Today, we have Kevin in our live streams. So our topic is very interesting. It's about freelancing, getting clients, hyping clients, and like all the client acquisition process. So this is like something that I have been doing since 2 years. So we can have a really good conversation around that. But we have like other speakers as well. We can have a lot of questions. We can exchange ideas. And for listeners, you can put your questions in the chat, live stream chat, and we can take that up from there. So let's start from your journey, Kevin. What's your journey looks like?
Yeah, thank you very much, Yash. So I have been, sorry for the audio. Yeah, I've been freelancing now for 22 months, so almost 2 years, like you yourself. I've always been practicing entrepreneurship almost my whole life. I've always been experimenting around with a lot of stuff. Initially doing a lot of couch drop shipping was one of the big things that I got into, as well as actually getting into like startups. I was actually doing VAs, virtual assistants. Then I actually took some crypto lessons as well. And then none of that really interested me. And then somehow I found copywriting through a friend of mine who has been a coach through the online industry. And it's funny from my perspective because I never liked writing, and English is actually not my first language. I don't know if you can tell, but my first language is Hungarian. So when I actually found writing, I had to kind of teach myself to speak fluently and be able to really articulate and be able to present myself in this language. I still struggle with it a little bit today, but unlike last year, it's definitely gone a lot better in that sense. And I say it's funny because in grade 10, I actually failed writing and I actually very disliked writing. So it's very ironic to go from not only disliking it, um, but to also failing it. And now I've actually sent emails to my past teachers who I really like, and I've showed them what I'm doing now, and they always have a good life when I mention that I'm writing for a living and helping clients and getting into business as well. Because I also used to be very introverted. And then a little bit more about myself and finding entrepreneurship and what really led me here. I was doing X part time. I was mainly reliant on two things really: my newsletter as well as my clients. Those were what I've been building up since the very beginning. And on top of that, I've been able to build my coaching over time. Been monetized on X, which is bringing me an extra $1,000 a month. Which in the long time, that's an extra 12 grand that you're making, no matter how small it is, and it's good passive income in that sense. But um, yeah, but in the beginning, it was very tough because when I was actually in, because I was working full time while I was still doing some writing online, and I went to Mexico, where I currently live. I was living in Canada all my life, and one time I was on vacation. I was on vacation for 3 months, and I was working on my ex while still being on vacation. I still had my 9 to 5, but then I get an email from my boss saying that unfortunately we're gonna have to terminate your contract without any reason. They never really gave me a reason as to why that was. So I have a really good friend who actually was working with me. I grew up with him at the age of like 10 years old, and his mother is the manager there at at that place as well. It was making really good money, by the way. So to lose that job was a really big bummer. And she informed me that they weren't liking what I was posting on social media because I used to be tad quite controversial. I still like to throw in a little bit of throw a little bit of it there because I do believe that having a sense of controversy is going to, get a little bit of eyeballs as well. One of my favorite books is The 48 Laws of Power. And one of the key
Oh,
takeaways that I've actually taken from that book was, understanding that a good mix of hate, controversy, and love are both good because you're going to get a side of the people who like you and then the side of people who are going to dislike you. And I'm not to say that I'm like famous or anything. At the time, I had like 3 to 4 thousand followers, but I had eyeballs from people who knew me personally and then more locally. And then that brought attention to my old workplace. So I was in Mexico, informed that my contract has been terminated. So that's when I was really forced into figuring out writing, entrepreneurship, and then started educating myself more properly because at the time I was making 800 Canadian dollars. So I'm talking like 600 USD every single month. And I was still living in Canada at the time. That's pretty okay money in terms of Mexican standards. But as for Canada, you need to make $5,000-6,000 just to live. So just to give you guys kind of put into the perspective, and I was making, a fifth or a tenth of that. Sorry.
Yeah, it does.
So it was definitely very difficult. And then, not to mention, I was also in debt because I went to school. I went to electrical school, so I was gonna become an electrician, and then that failed. And then I wanted to become an electrical engineering, and then that put me, into a lot of debt, which then I had to that kind of messed me up. I actually still owe a lot of those debts, but I've actually disassociated myself from Canada entirely, and there's no law against paying back your debts. All they're going to do is cancel your credit cards, all those kind of stuff. So I filed for bankruptcy, and it was honestly the best thing that could have ever happened, because now I just don't look at it as debt. It's completely canceled out. My credit score may have dropped, but I've started to build my credit score here in Mexico.
Mhm.
And as of 1 week from today, it's actually going to be 1 year since I've moved to Mexico full time, and I've been here.
Mhm.
And that's what really led me into entrepreneurship. And now I'm having contracts with Justin. As you know, Harsh, Justin's a good partner of mine. We're going to be having an event in Cancun, Mexico, upcoming this April. So about a 20-minute drive from where I live. We'll be teaching you guys a masterclass on business, X, sales, marketing, and freelancing. As far as I understand, I believe we're going to have freelancing as well. So that's a
Mhm.
little bit about my story of how I got into it, how I found it, some of the ups and downs, and some of the success that came with it as well. Just a little bit of background. If you guys have questions, I'd be more than willing to answer any of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Impressive.
By the way, I have actually heard a lot about Mexico, but I would like to know first from you, like when you moved there, what was your first-hand experience?
So when I was a kid, I was fortunate enough to go to Mexico quite often on vacation, and I've always liked the vibe. First year we were in a resort, and then the second year we were actually out of the resort. We got to look around, experience what the world is like outside the resort, because a resort's very different from what the outside life is really like. And it was a little bit scary at first because we all hear about the media, telling us how dangerous it is. But in my own experience, I just laugh at it. I laugh at legacy media and what the media has been talking about, because me and some of the locals will be drinking, having a beer, laughing at some of these Americans and Canadians who really don't understand what the culture is like. And this is when I kind of understood fear mongering on another level. They're trying to, scare these Americans and Canadians from coming here. But then back to the story. Sorry, I got a little off topic. I started coming more and more often, and I found myself really liking the culture, and being able to leave your country. If you're anywhere between the ages of 18 to 30 years old, that would be my suggestion for all of you, is just leaving your country, because you're going to open yourself up more. You're going to be more open-minded, and you're going to learn that there's more to life than your home country. And for the numbers, 70% of people globally, so everywhere in the world, never leave their home country. So not their home country, their hometown. So
Um,
if you've lived in New York City all your life, that's it. That's all you've ever known. You've only known about New York City. That's a very bad example because those guys are more privileged, but this tends to happen in higher poverty countries. But after coming on vacation, I saw the people. People were more poor, but they seemed more happier because they weren't stuck in that rat race. Unlike people in Mexico, they would work their 9 to 5s Monday to Friday, and then every weekend have a barbecue. They're super family orientated. And as someone who is a Christian who has those kind of values, I really wanted to surround myself more in that kind of place. And I know that Canada and the States supposedly have Christian values, right? But I'm not seeing that anymore. Whereas
Mhm.
Mexico, they're known for being Catholic. I'm not Catholic, I'm just a normal Christian. They still, have that love for religion and everything. So they have those values. So moved down here, love the people, and been able to make some really good friends. I'm in the process of learning Spanish right now, but it doesn't seem to have worked out for me very much because I've been working all the
Mhm.
time.
Actually, in your spaces, I have actually heard you say this more and more time. Like most of the people, they never leave their hometown. The main thing is that it's completely okay to stay. According to me, it's completely okay to stay in the same place, but you should definitely explore uh, time to time new places, because When I was in my hometown, I actually never invented anything. The first time I invented anything when I went out, when I spent some time with different people, and then I got to like explore more and more in that journey. Over to you, Sanjay.
I do have a similar story. Like I never get a chance to. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I never get a chance to really shift to another country, but yeah, I do got a chance to leave my hometown and shift to another state. And let me tell you about a bit more about that state. Actually, that state is so pretty. If you like, I'm staying in Kolkata, right? Uh, it is in India. Okay. So, and the state where I moved for the 2 years, that state is like the temperature is always below 0 degrees. It's always cold.
Right.
People are less, and wherever you see, you will see the greeneries. That place
Hmm.
is so much green, right? And when I moved there, for the first 7 days, I was enjoying a lot. We were staying on the mountain cliff, watching the snowfalls, enjoying the weather. Since I'm from like the place where I'm living now, it's pretty cold, pretty hot actually. Like
Awesome.
cool always stay for like 1 or 2 months. After that, it's completely hot, and that place was like amazing. Okay, so after staying for the 1 week, I was started to get bored because I was seeing the same thing, experiencing the same thing, and the weather is also not changing. It was like cold and cold all the days. So then I start talking with the locals, start roaming around, start meeting with the people, and starting to go to the markets, local sightseeing, start doing that. Then eventually I explored the fact that I lack so many things. There are so much out there, and I just started now. But then I thought, okay, leave that thought behind. Even if I started now, I will keep doing it. So when I start exploring it, I will start knowing. Actually, it's better to say I start knowing myself. That exploration taught a lot me about myself actually, right? Whatever I learned. So yeah, that place gave me so much, made me a different person. I used to be a highly introvert, still I am, but yeah, a bit of extrovert came into me. Okay, and the college. Actually, I went there for the higher studies. Okay, in that college, look, when I was doing my graduation here in West Bengal, so the all my friends are from the locals, so I never get a chance to learn so many things. But when I went there, I met with the peoples of different states, so started to do know their cultures, their languages, their lifestyles, and tried and also adopted so many things from them. And that journey was amazing, and still looking for the opportunity to leave my hometown.
By the way, before anyone says something, don't believe when Sanjay says that he is an introvert. Don't believe him. Once this guy gets comfortable with you, he will tell you what actually a real extrovert means.
Don't believe her.
No, I don't. You don't seem to be.
Yes, you are not audible.
I'm
Wait,
No,
sorry.
he's audible.
I
So
unmuted you. I unmuted you.
yeah, he said like I think people behave like in terms of introvert and extrovert, or you could say emotional, logical. That depends on the environment a lot. So let's say like if Sanjay is comfortable in the environment, he will become the extrovert person, and if he's not, then maybe he will be the introvert. So it's kind of like that. Circumstances create consequences thing. So, Kevin, with this tagline, circumstances create consequences. So, obviously, when you moved to a new place, so, you have shared like the positive consequences, all of them. Let's hear something
Yeah.
about the negative consequences, a little bit, not too much.
Ooh, yes. Yeah, so in the past 6 months, it's only really been positive, but I could definitely share more of the negative stuff when I was here in the beginning as well. But it was something that was voluntary. So I knew it, moving here into Mexico, I knew it was going to happen. And being in a country where I don't know the language was obviously going to be very difficult, right? I don't understand people. I don't really understand the culture as much. I've been on vacation in Mexico a couple times, and without that experience, maybe I wouldn't have been able to fit in as well. But even with that little time I spent on vacation, I still had to, experience full time living here to be able to really fit in with the culture, even if there is that language barrier here. However, another positive side, I'll get into the negatives, but I think it's so important to mention too, is that I live in I do live in one of the more rich areas of Mexico. So, like I said, it's around Cancun area, and because of that, we're having a lot of Canadians and Americans moving out because they've experienced the very similar situation like I have. They were on the brink of bankruptcy, or their financials weren't doing so well, so they've done some research on how to get out of the country. And Mexico tends to be one of the first things people look into. It's affordable, housing is affordable. Like I said, people are happy, and the weather, as Sanjay was saying as well. I lived in Canada for 22 years, so I was used to, being in an environment where it was -10, -20 degrees Celsius, like almost every day, to going into an environment that now is like 30, 40 plus degrees Celsius every single day. So I guess that's a negative. And it's both a negative and a positive, because having to transition over to that, man, there were nights when I couldn't sleep. And there's nights today when I still struggle with sleeping because it gets really hot. But what I have noticed is the body's able to adapt very quickly. So you are able to really get used to it. When I did first move in, I was blasting the AC, or else I would have just completely died. And even then, that sometimes wasn't enough, because their ventilation system here and their plumbing and electrical here in Mexico, that's the other negative thing, is it's not too good. It's not too good because I believe they're being severely underpaid. So compared to America and Canada, at least.
Mhm.
And yeah, so those were really the two big things. Definitely just the language barrier and the weather. But over time, it became one of those things that really helped. Actually, sorry, one more thing: the isolation, right? The isolation thing, because I had a lot of friends in Canada. I grew up with a lot of these people, and I still talk to them quite regularly, once or twice a week. I keep in contact with them, but I have had to learn to be alone and isolated, and have a positive mindset about it as well. And there's two types of people: they're either alone or they're isolated. And I believe the difference between the two is being alone. It's a victim mindset. You're victimizing yourself of feeling alone. You're feeling, like you're not. I think people seek validation a little too much, but when you're isolating yourself, what you're telling yourself is, I only need to validate myself. I'm okay with being alone, so I'm actually going to do something about it. So that's the mindset I had to learn for a long time, because when I was building my business back in Canada, I at least had the support of family, friends, my brothers, and etc.
Mhm. By the way, I would like to add a little bit on that, because we sometimes think, and our body is literally meant to be our destiny. Our mind is literally meant to be what we tell ourselves. So when you tell yourself that you cannot do it, you cannot do it at all. But once you start, like, okay, let's try to do it, you will definitely go for it. That's the first thing. Another thing what I would like to add on this, that sometimes people get a sympathy bias. Okay. And that is something which occurred to me this evening, because I have a friend, and he happens to be very close to me, and he never gives me sympathy. And I'm so glad to him because of that. Because one day I was like having that, why you treat me in such a different way? And he was like, either you can get the sympathy or you can become strong, but you cannot have both. So if you want me to sympathize with you, that I can be the, you will think that I'm the most interesting person in the world. But if you want to grow strong, then I am your man. So
Yeah, you got to be humble, of course.
Mm,
So
mm.
it's not about he's a very harsh person. Although harsh is my name, but he is very harsh person. But the thing is that each time he pushes me to go beyond my boundaries, and that helps me. We all need that kind of person in our life. And not even, and if
Absolutely.
you don't have that kind of person, be that person for yourself. You have to push the boundaries. Because, and there is one more thing you were saying, Kevin, in the space we have there. You can you have to combine both smart and hard work. According to me, smart work when you choose your direction. The smartest is there, that where you are going to direct yourself. But it's going to be hard. There is no escaping hard work. And when it comes to, we should definitely push ourselves, because the real interesting projects what we do, they are not formed in one day. They takes months, years, sometimes. Like when I was talking about the data compression technology I was working on, it took me 9 years. Like, it's been 9 years I'm working on the same field. And now it's a time that, okay, I can challenge anybody in that. But if you would have asked me on my first year, I would not have the same confidence. So with time, it's like people think that it's arrogance, but trust me, it's with time you know that what you can do and what you cannot. You more and more know yourself. Um,
Hmm.
and with that, over to you, Yash.
Interesting. So, when you were speaking about the weather change, speaking about like we are all from India, and we have like 29 states, and you can actually experience different weather at the same time of the month in different states. So, like in the north side, in Kashmir and
Yeah.
Jammu, you can experience like winter season, even it's like summer for whole the world, or other countries. And if you go to the south, then you can have much more of the rainy type of area. So it's like very versatile here. So, like, in that case, like, we are very blessed for that. And if we talk about weather, then we got air cons for for that, for summer. But in winter, so the thing that we are not usually adapted to, like the people who live in the northern, mid northern area, is like the snowfall. Like, we haven't get experience in the mid northern area. So that's something.
Hmm.
Yeah. By the way, let's move to the some juicy part. Okay, so let's talk about like how you got to the how you when you build the business, like how you get to your first client, first paid client.
Yeah, that's an amazing question. And I love that question because I don't think it matters if you're a freelancer, if you're a business owner, it doesn't matter what you're selling, whether that is virtual or in person. I feel like a lot of the same systems are required when you're actually first starting out as well. So let me talk particularly from a freelancing perspective and a online business perspective, as that's what we're all here for. So I'll be talking from that perspective moving forward.
Mhm.
So, from a freelancer, so we'll take my story for example. When I was starting out in the beginning, I spent my first 3 months making $0. In fact, I lost about 2 grand trying to run up my business. And a lot of this was actually spent on trial and error. So, a lot of it was spent on education. So, that's not a wasted investment. But there were a lot of stuff that ended up failing because I would pay for ads, which would never convert because they sucked at the time, and I thought they were amazing, right? Like you do. But yeah, I think with the evolution of social media, I think the opportunities for everybody is at its best time. I think we have this problem where people think that it's been saturated, but I think that's actually not true. I don't believe a market is saturated. I believe that your problem and your offer have not been placed in a way that people are interested in hearing you out. And one of the best ways to do that is to build trust. So, in order to do trust, you need to get those testimonials, which is done by working for free, getting emails, getting phone numbers, getting contacts, and being fully devoted to your clients as well. And it could be very difficult in the beginning. And this is something that I experienced in the beginning: is when you reach out for free work, right? People will have mixed opinions. They'll say, all right, let's do it. And then there's the other group that'll say, all right, let's do it. But then because they're not paying for it, they're not as devoted to actually, start doing the work. So there would be periods and times where I would work with them for 2, 3 weeks, and then they'll just completely ghost me or they completely just give up because they're not paying for it. There's no loss to them as well. So it actually comes from the responsibility as a freelancer, a business owner, to actually push them And that happened several times where people wanted to give up. And if there was any situation where they'd come to me and say, man, I'm really doubting, just entrepreneurship as a whole, I would get on a call with them, talk to them, try to explain to them, ways that we can really elevate, to really keep their mindset really healthy as well. And what really helped me, and this goes for, or sorry, this particularly helps if you're Christian. This is what I always did because I'm very spiritual. So if anybody had a problem, sometimes, I'm not kidding you, one of my most devoted clients, he's super, super spiritual. He's super Christian. Sometimes we'd sit down, read some verses, talk about the Bible, and then that would really give him this awakening. Now in business, what you want to do is try to find that same thing. You need to find that light in them. You need to find that passion. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. And over time, if you believe um, in your confidence and your skill over time, you're going to be able to produce results as well. And that's for the freelancing aspect of things as well. I would focus more about building the skill first, because if you have an audience but you're unable to deliver that skill, you're not only going to lose out on money, but you're also tarnishing your reputation as well, because word will spread around saying he can't fulfill my needs, he sucks, he's unable to do everything, so just don't listen to him, trust me, because I worked with him and he's able to deliver. So focus on your skill. And this comes from a freelancing perspective as well. Now if you're trying to sell digital products like I have on my newsletter, what I rely on is high distribution. So I focus on I focus on getting an audience, retaining them, keep giving value, show my audience that I'm always around so they can build trust and reliance on me, and then posting those products in my newsletter, whether that is my own, or sometimes I'll collaborate with other creators and put my own affiliate links in as well. So those are my two major business models that I follow. And that's how you would close your first client as a freelancer.
Hmm. All right. So, like, before I move to my perspectives on this methodology, let's move over to Hirsch. What do you have to say?
Okay, so actually, I have tried freelancing, to be very honest, in my life, and it did not work out for me. So I'm not saying that it cannot work for
Yeah.
anyone,
Yeah.
but it did not work out for me because after my few initial clients, like 2, 3 clients in my freelancing journey, which was in 2016 and 17, I stopped doing it. Instead of that, I actually focused on other source of revenue and building assets. So there are 8 aspects I always talk about, and those if 8 aspects, if they are working for you, then you are on the best balance of your life, according to me. So in my initial journey, when I started freelancing, so the first thing I found out about myself that I am not a front end guy at all. I cannot develop front end. I don't like it, and my brain doesn't work there. And that's true since it's been 9 years, 9, 10 years now, and that's true since my entire life. Now another thing is that after that, when I actually started doing back-end development work, after 3, 4 clients, I did it. And how I cracked my first 3 clients, I just collaborated with people who already had clients. I just offered them that, okay, you are charging them this much, I can deliver your work in this much, and that's it. At that time, I needed money, they needed my skills. We both collaborated. So after that, I actually shifted to asset buildings through safer mediums. And one of the first few methods I tried is arbitrage, that I bought some assets from here and I sold those assets on a different price immediately, like within a time frame of 1 hour max to max. And then another method I tried is I started lending money to people which I already had, and for that worked for me like in a very good manner, because whatever revenue I started generating from there, I just divided it 50-50. Now there is a time when I realized that I am undervaluing my, because and that time came into my life when my partner came, because I was charging, like I was on Clubhouse in 2022, and from September to December, I what happened is I joined in 15th of September. I was listening to rooms there. It's like just like spaces on X. And one day idea resonated with me. I was like, I'm free. I want to allocate some time of mine, and I wanted to test my AI. So I basically built the entire thing with my AI, and I showed it to them. It was nothing very professional. It was very simple, but it was the exact idea, and people liked it. And they suddenly started asking, "Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me?" And when you do that repeatedly after a very long time, people still start asking for favors. And sometimes those are not just favors, but those are also, yeah, like some genuine people really came around, I believe. And that time, my partner was like, "How much you are charging them?" I was like, "I am planning to charge them $3,000." I was, that guy closed the same deal in more than 30, more than 10 times. And I was
Great.
like, how? And he was like, because you are not doing the proper research in the market. You know how to develop tech. I know how to make a sale. And that worked for me. Like from him, I have learned the most when it comes to sales and marketing. And I still didn't, I don't consider myself a sales and marketing guy. Like I am learning, I'm in my learning phase. But I also know that when people say that I have very little money, you are not honest. You have to pay what the other guy have to, otherwise go find someone else. That's my very simple statement to anyone. Like I have found many clients, and they say like, can you do this in this much time? I'm like, I can try, but I cannot guarantee that because I have never done it. Because if you will say that, can you do the 35-day work in 25 days? I can try. But can you do the can you do it in that much time? No, I'm going to charge you more in that case, because I am going to allocate that time to something I could have done in that, I could have allocated that time to do also something of my own, but now I'm dedicating all of it to you. So I will make sure that I'm well compensated. So that's my perspective, that first of all, we should, if we cannot, you are not able to like find a client, we should definitely collaborate with people who need your skills and who already have clients. And second of all, money is not important. Building assets are important, because if you have assets, they will bring you money after a point of time, and then you are not in a hurry of cracking. And for me, that is peace. Like, business, I don't do business to earn money. I do business because I want to sleep peacefully. And with that, I am not gonna say more. Otherwise, I will go on and
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Um, that's an absolute banger strategy. Is like, so it also works in the traffic. Like you don't need to get the traffic and earn those eyeballs and earn those followers. Just collaborate with people who already have that, and you can just do the barter trading. See what you have actually to give them, and that comes with the harsh saying: build assets. If you have assets
Yep.
that people value, go boom. Then
Also,
there's no problem of traffic and sales.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
also
Yeah.
these
100%.
even these days, when I'm making even a little money comes to my pocket, that money doesn't stay in my account for long. Like I have a reserve fund. Okay, if in case of emergency, I will have this money. I am not gonna touch it. But when it comes to earning even a single, like let's suppose I earn $10, what I do, I just place orders. Like I just place orders of a stocks all the time. And like when you compound these stocks for like 10 years, 20 years.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you
100%.
read the book The Richest Man in Babylon?
I have not. No.
Yeah, I mean that's the same kind of analogy that the author said about, like, you earn the money, don't kill it. Build that into the golden axe just by investing it. Invest in whatever suits like the plan or so, and like hers do the same. Just lay the eggs for the next eggs and chickens. So yeah, I mean, getting the first client is, you know what do you think, like, what's the what's the common mistake and the worst thing that people do when they want to get their first client?
I will let go Kevin first.
Yeah, I'm asking him, but I cannot hear him. I cannot hear you,
Yeah,
Kevin. Check your mic. No.
maybe your audio input device is changed now.
Hello?
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just disconnected and reconnected my mic. I think it was just some glitch on my end. So the
Mhm.
first mistake people make 100% is I think they try to get into it way too quickly and promising offers that they can't fulfill. That's why I was saying you should work for free and not necessarily base it on a time frame in the beginning. Just face it, go into it when we're talking about once you get the client, all right? So not necessarily the process of getting into it, but once you're in it with the client as well. People will try to do everything as fast as they can, even if it's for free, but that's not why you're working for free initially. You're working for testimonials. And I think more importantly is you're building those skills. I think that's one of the first things. And people will, and then the other thing too is when it does come to the sales and marketing, when they're trying to target people, is they'll try to target everybody. They don't have a very specific niche that they're looking for. Now, I'm an open niche, but in the beginning, I was targeting finance and marketing because that's what I understood. But people are so people are just so focused on the money aspect they forget to actually provide the value and look into that as well. So that's one of the biggest things that people will often look past, and their egos are so high that sometimes they forget to even make friends along the way that will help them elevate it because they're in it for their own selfish game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the worst mistake in my terms too. But if you talk about freelancing, I see like you sell the skill. Like freelancing is about you doing the work, and but you're not bound to one person. You can
Yeah,
do someone for today, and then next month you can pick another client. It's like you're selling your skill, your own hours, your own skills, to do the work. But when we talk about business, is these are my opinions. Okay, it's like you don't need to have a skill to run a business. I mean, like you don't need to learn a skill. You don't
that's
need
why
to
we
learn.
delegate.
Yeah, like you don't need to learn the skill if you want to build a business. Building a business is just selling from A to B transformation. That's it, is it. And it's like you are getting the person who is at point A, and looking at the point B and seeing like how your business can fill the gap, and then the all the service delivery then you can delegate, outsource, hire. And if I would be wanting to build a business, building the dream project, algorithms, and AI, augmented reality, and so on, and to help like hotels, restaurants, and automobiles. I'm not going to learn any single of that skill. I'm going to talk to Harsh. Harsh, my friend, look, I'm going to start this, and you're going to deliver those. You're going to take care of the delivery, and yeah, we're going to build a business, man. So this is how it's going to be. So that's my take in terms of it. So I see like freelancing and like different vehicle to make money, and business is different vehicle to make
Of
money.
course.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the pro of doing the freelancing and learning the skill, that you get to know all the nuances. When you learn it, do it, and fulfill it to someone. On the business side, it's about the soft world skill. Just gotta have communication, networking, and that math money mindset, and that laziness in you, that you don't want to do anything, just want to sleep peacefully, and that will make you money in business.
Well, even your business is your asset. But
Yeah.
when it comes to, when it comes to delegating work, it's all about like identifying that what you can do and what you cannot. So even when it comes to technology, and somebody like Yash tells me that, okay, can you build me a very beautiful website? I cannot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will delegate that work to someone else. Just like if I want to build an API, I can do it, but I will say, Sanjay, do this. So
yeah.
that is more important, and one of the major mistake also people do, like that's the first mistake, over promising. You should always under promise or be realistic with what you can deliver. If you don't, then you should definitely, before committing anything, you should talk to your circle, that people can come and collaborate, and they should really dedicate the time. And you always should have a backup. Like suppose if you have a technical person to do X work, you should always have a second technical person to do the exact same X work, because sometimes those their commitment can also make you miserable in front of many people. That's uh, that's the first mistake people do. The another mistake people do, they take down the price to get the client. Never take down your, once you state that this is your price, stick to your price, because that shows your value. The first client you will acquire, the first time you will acquire a client, and you say that okay, for this work I'm charging you $18,000, stick to $18,000. It's okay to let the client go, because next time whenever that, if you go down, you that can go down to even $1 or zero. That's the first mistake.
Yeah.
Another thing is, with the first time, with the first deal, you set a value, you set a standard with the other person. So when you will get introduced to any other person, you will get introduced on the same value.
I have
That's,
a statement here. Okay.
yeah.
So let's, money is the exchange of value. With this, we are going to go with this theory. And I think that people do the pricing the wrong way. That's why they, first thing that they think about getting the client is adjusting their prices. So what if, with the theory of like money is the exchange of the value, now let's keep the money out of the gate. Let's say you have a painting, okay,
Hmm.
that your mother's painting, okay, and that is worth a certain amount of money. All right. I mean, not just take example. Let's say your neighbor's doggy, or whatever. I mean, you are emotionally attached with it, and
Hmm.
it is worth, the one copy of this painting, it's worth this much, okay.
Hmm.
And if you adjust the price up and down, you will change the worth of it,
Hmm.
right? And with that, you can also take that concept to the business. Like, do you really want to change the worth of your business just to get that client? Why? Because you're not clear on your pricing. And so to get this really nailed down, you need to
Hmm.
think about like what amount of money will take me to deliver this client. First of all, the cost of goods and services, and then you get the net profit. Okay, $500 COGS, and $2,000 is the revenue, like cash collected, $1,500 net profit. But that's not, you're running a business. You're not freelancing anymore. You have to tax to pay, you have employees, you have to make sure the health insurance, the bills, and all of them. Why you're not counting that? So if you do the exact calculation, and with that you can see about, okay, I want to price this much to actually make sure that business really thrives. And then the real battle comes to justifying the price, giving them the ROI, so they feel okay, it's logical that they are charging this much. But I am not, either I am not capable or I am not ready to do this transformation.
Hmm.
So that justification part is also very important.
Hmm.
Can I
What are
jump
your
in?
thoughts on it? Yeah, I want you to jump in.
Yeah, I was going to say too that I mentioned this earlier, but I kind of want to bring it to light as well, is that when you're jumping prices, I mean, it's not only going to hurt you, but it's going to hurt your clients as well. When I was talking about working for free, there was a big problem with a lot of people, not taking it as seriously. And there's a big reason as to why we also charge for these premium users. Obviously, because it's a lot of time for us freelancers and we have to be putting in a lot of work as well. But it also makes the client more dedicated as well. So if they're going to be paying $500 a month versus $5,000 a month, so tenfold that, people are more dedicated. And this is actually good for our retainer clients as well.
Hmm. I would like to share something here. I got a I got a potential lead on X, and by now from X I have like got a many leads so far. Like X is becoming like more one of the most profitable platform I have ever used. So There was one client. He came, he paid me, and he and I are working together so far, like since last 5 months, and it's been a wonderful journey. Like we recently shipped a product for him, and he is loving it, and he is talking about more and more. There is another person who is like we have not collaborated so far, but we definitely see a huge possibility. We are looking forward to meet. But there was also one client who came, and the idea was exciting. We have would have definitely delivered that on time, and actually before time if we wanted to. And the only thing was that client had a pain that I have already paid many people earlier to execute the same idea. So can you start the work, and once you go through a project, I will initiate the first payment? They're like, no. If you want to see my portfolio, here is my portfolio. I can show you my work, but without a initial payment, I am not willing to do that, because if I'm going to do it for free, start it for free, then the whole thing is free. And because after 20 days, suppose if I deliver you something and you change your mind.
That's why they're going to be less dedicated too. That was a
Exactly.
big mistake I also did as well, because they don't feel obligated because they haven't paid. And that's
Yeah.
so important. Like I can't express it enough too. It's obviously great for us freelancers because we're being paid, but we need them to pay ahead so that we can build retainers, they're building trust, and that they're actually involved in it. That's why we actually charge premium as well. It's
Mhm.
more money for you, both in the short term and the long run as well.
Also, Yash, for you, I would like to include two more words here: client, collaboration, and partnership. These three
Mhm.
words are three different things. So when we are collaborating, we are not charging, we are not willing to make a client there. We are making a long-term relationship. Okay.
Yeah.
Where the both the parties are earning, and the client is not the other party, but someone else. Okay. And when it comes to partnership, we are basically having a share there. Okay. But when we are talking about charging, we always charge to client, not to our partner or collaborators.
Exactly. Well, let's move to the little bit of closing the sales part. So, what's the process looks like for you, the general process? How do you make the sales and close the deals for your clients?
Awesome stuff. So the topic of the space in and of itself, client acquisition. So I used to go from doing a lot of outbound leads through DMs, which was the process, and reaching out. It got to the point where I was reaching out 100 times a day. And although that closed maybe one every 300 DMs I would send, it was not efficient, right? I want to be able to sleep at the beach, not type out 300 DMs every single day for the rest of my life. And it's just not going to be worth it in the long end. So my client acquisition process is actually through content. If you go through my page right now, 20% of the time I'm always selling something. So I'm either selling either my coaching, which I also now do. I do coaching, I do my newsletter, and then I also do my ghostwriting. Those are the three things that I'm selling. And there's always a call to action to them, which will then lead them straight into the DMs. You can actually code a DM button, which will then take them to your DMs to ask them questions and in what they're interested in as well. So it's all through inbound. And it's also a long-term game that a lot of people need to understand as well. In order for somebody to really make a connection with you, this is super important. They need to consume your content for about 6 to 7 hours on average before they make this connection with you where they feel like, okay, I am interested. Let me go in a little deeper and see what he's all about to see if I'm interested in what he's offering and if I actually want to close this deal. And once we kind of build that connection with them, not just through content as well, but what I love about X is now we have spaces. And as you know, me and Harsh, we're super active on spaces. I've closed many clients through the Startup Circle community that I'm running, through the Revenue Ronin community that Justin's also built, by simply talking about my offer, talking about what I do, introducing myself, sharing the vibes, sharing the vibes. I kind of hate that term, but in a sense, sharing people who I am, because that's how you build authenticity, is by really showing people who you are. And that's what a personal brand is. So you take them into the DMs, which is what I do. And then I have an offer. So I have three separate charges. I have a silver, I have a gold, and then I have a premium, which is what I call it as well. And my supreme premium. So I have four, but the fourth one is hardly ever used, and I'm yet to close a client with this one. I'm charging $20,000 for that one for 1 month for ghostwriting services, and those are for the big CEOs, people who've already got leverage. So it's a very special case as well. And then I also have a USB drive, not with me at the moment, but I have a drive that just has a file of testimonials as well. So just like a 20-page Google Docs file with just every testimonial that I have that goes from videos to work that I've done to written testimonials by big and small clients as well. And that was done over time through working with free as well as those paid clients as well. And that's usually how the client acquisition process goes. So it goes from content to call to action to then closing. And then retainer is a little bit special as well because you want to be able to, create results for them. And then what you want to do is actually show it to them that without me, they're actually going to lose out on a lot of money as well. So that's why you always want to under promise, but always over deliver, because it's going to give them that wow factor. Like, I can't believe people like this actually exist, because they know that without me, their revenue would drop 200, 300%. So even if I charge more afterwards, they'd still be making more money in the long end. And that's why you always want to start upping your prices the more you start, taking on clients, because they know that if they lose you, then they're going to lose their business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Awesome.
Abhinav have not spoken for a long time. Abhinav, would you like to say something?
No, actually, I had a question, and Yash asked already. But yes, I have one more question. You are freelancing from 22 months right now, and there are also many mistakes that you made in this journey that a beginner will always make. So, in your perspective, what are those common mistakes that beginner usually made in this process of starting as a freelancer?
What were
Like
some of
we
the common mistakes?
Yes, we have already discussed a lot of them. We
Oh,
always
we
think
have discussed about like the mistakes, common mistakes to get the first client, and you were asking common mistakes starting as a freelancer. I think
yes,
that would be a different question. Yeah.
yes.
So sorry, could you re-elaborate that? Because I'm not
Yeah.
understanding it.
So
So
Abhinav is asking what what are the common mistakes when a freelancer is starting, just starting.
just starting. So it's very similar to the answer that I gave, 100%. Actually, here's a very interesting one, and I made this mistake big time, thinking it's free money. Everybody, when they get into freelancing, they genuinely, a lot of the time, they don't enjoy the skill. They're really just in it for the money, for the cash, because they think it's very easy money. So they get into it. They don't understand the field, and they lack the time and the discipline to really get into acquiring that knowledge as well. And then also undercharging themselves as well. And the reason you want to avoid undercharging in the beginning as well is because over time, especially in the beginning, that's what you're going to be known for. You're going to be known as somebody who is going to be taken easily of advantage of. So if I start charging $500 a month, which is very low, it's very, very low, then you're going to be known by that community, by the people that you're aware of, that you're essentially easy and people will take advantage of you. And although you could maybe make a living off of it, what it will do is it's not going to allow you to scale. It's not going to allow you to build an agency like a business, like I was able to do. And the only reason I was able to start an agency is because I was able to not only charge what I'm worth, but I was able to scale even above that with my retainer clients.
Mhm. Also, that thing is, if the client is making money, you should also make money. And people
Of
easily
course.
at least put in 20% work in the development. And when it comes to sales and marketing, that plays around like 80% of the entire business. So people do must charge them as much as the value, because like a lot of people in India, they outsource. Like in
Mhm.
most of the Indian IT industry is like based on outsourcing. 70% of people are doing that. And the reason is why those outsourcing industries so flourish, because if you will try to make the same product in US or UK, you will have to charge, like they will have to pay it 10 times more than they are paying here. So if you are asking for $80,000 for a project, which will cost like $800,000 in US and UK, you are already charging a lot of like a lot low,
Mhm.
and you don't need to go below that. That's uh, that's harsh, but that's the truth.
Yeah, and can I just chime in too? Is that another big mistake a lot of freelancers are making? And this is fine once you're a bit more experienced and you have more trust in your skill and you're able to deliver, especially once you have an audience. Is people will always target in the beginning. I don't know why. I never understood why. Is they'll always end up targeting people who don't have the money, people who are not receiving that attention. They can't. And our job as freelancers, one of the biggest advantages that we can take is by delegating and using their following. So let me give you an example. If there's an account with 1 million followers, you know that account is making money to some extent, right? Because we're able to, and then as freelancers, we know that we're able to delegate that. So we'll
Mhm.
contact them. We'll try to obviously throw in our sales pitch, and then the only reason we're able to make them more money to begin with is because they already have an audience. We just know how to delegate it more than they can. But it's very
Mhm.
difficult to do when you're reaching a smaller, account, especially startups, because they don't have the finances, they don't have the audience, and they don't have anybody to target to. So that could
Um,
take. Oftentimes, you're going to have to start charging them, sometimes, up to 6 months worth of work just for them to see results. And you have to make that very clear to them, right? But that can be very difficult to find because just because somebody doesn't have attention on social media, right? Let's say has 0 followers, doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have money online or they don't have money at all because, their 9 to 5s could be paying them very well. They could have just a lot of savings in their bank accounts. So you do have to do a lot of stuff like that. And you need to be able to convince people that are willing to invest back into their business. So as a freelancer, target those people who have an audience, who have that attention, who are bringing in some sort of revenue every single month. And then you as a
Mhm.
freelancer can leverage that to be able to make more money for them as well. So, and that's a big mistake that a lot of people will make. And that's what professional freelancers will do. They're always going to target the people who are always high up there. However, this makes for high competition, right? I'm getting 10, 20 DMs every single day, people trying to pitch me their products, their email newsletters, everything, because they know that with, my audience, how can I'm trying to not sound too egotistical here, but it's impossible. Um, but people will come to me, they want to work for me, but it's just there's already so much that I'm already doing. I can't, fit in as well, and it's very hard to stand out. And Twitter's not the same as it was 2 3 years ago. Like 2 years ago when I started, it was definitely easier to come up to somebody with lower authority, pitch your offer, and then there was a more likelihood that they would say yes. Now it's a lot more difficult. Now, what I love what Harsh's strategy is, he's acquiring assets, he's acquiring networks. That's an asset. He's acquiring people. I've joined his community. I've met him like 3 weeks ago. We've only really started talking, and he's brought me into this space, right? And we're really growing as a community, and that's I think the biggest. I think that's what the strategy is now is by creating those networks, get close to people, collaborate as well. There's a lack of people collaborating at times, I feel like, because people are very I don't want to say egotistical, but very arrogant. A lot of people think that they can do things alone, but that's not going to happen, especially when you're
Mhm.
first starting off. So if you're going to be selling a $10,000 product, do it with somebody who is at least on the same level as you, that at the bare
Mhm.
minimum. Of course, it'll be better if they have more experience, but it's not even about the money in the beginning. It's for you to get experience. So Justin has 20 years of experience. I'm collaborating with him in Mexico. And by having both, our experiences combined, we're able to really do something together. Whereas alone, it'd be very, very difficult.
Mhm. That's not exactly what I'm doing on X. Let me tell you what exactly I'm doing. Because the rules I have set today in the group, I'm going to follow those rules myself. I'm totally comfortable with that. In QP, the word incubate itself, first of all, what is incubate? So if I talk about incubate there, so incubate means sudden gains, opportunities, and advancements, often through unconventional means. So when you create a group of people, a think tank, you get those unconventional means. Now, what are those gains? Because here I'm not talking about money. Money becomes irrelevant after a point of time. So on X, I'm not trying to sell anything. So that's that I can say openly. Like people will never find me promoting a product. People will not find me um, selling a course on X or ever. The reason is because that's not my core competency. I am a very bad person to guide you. That's why that's all always say that if you are looking for a guidance from me, I'm the worst person you can find. What you can find me there, I can build ideas. I can help you generate code. I can help you with your projects. Either if that project is interesting, it I don't care about money in that case. I will build that with you, and I will maybe I will take a share out of it. That okay, if you can't pay me, no problem. I see the future. Let's build this together. If I don't, I will definitely guide you that okay, this person can help you in that scenario. But when it comes to like a lot of people think that a group or community is a place to sell their stuff. I don't appreciate that at all because I am not willing to do that ever in the community. And community, first of all, community starts with you. You are when you start a community, you are the first person. It
Mhm.
originated from you, so you are the boss there. And here in this case, in case of InQP, neither I am the boss, neither Yash or Kevin or anyone is the boss. InQP is the boss. So InQP will say and everyone listens. That's the rule there. So when it comes to when I said that okay, you can discuss ideas, that is what we are planning to do in InQP. Let's discuss ideas, let's discuss stream, let's build it. So even if I suppose tomorrow with InQP, if I come up with okay, this is the product, I am never gonna tell you to buy. I can show you that okay, this is something I'm working on, but I'm never gonna tell you to buy it because I don't tell people to buy it. I let them buy.
Yeah, interesting. It's a very interesting business model, but I do agree with the fact that closed mouths do not get fed, and it's worked out for me very, very well. I mean, I built up the authority where people do see me more in ghostwriting as a business, and Justin agrees with me in the sense that you need to have those times when you are hardcore selling. Now, this doesn't mean you're just going to hop into any community and start selling, right? That's not something I appreciate either, but the startup circle specifically, and it's not just to benefit my own needs and my businesses as well. We've built this business with Justin, Timo, and everybody here to be able to sell our products, and we're not going to, neglect the fact that we're also just trying to help people out in the end of the day as well. That's why we're giving value to people as well, right? And we're not necessarily hardcore selling either. We're not telling people, just join apply for my ghostwriting agency. No, we just make it aware, and then we'll throw in a pitch once every 2 hours or so.
And also people sometimes get confused by the word sales. Sales is not about selling. It's
Yeah,
about
100%.
sales and marketing both have the similar job. It's about creating that want, that necessity. And if that necessity is not there, trying to sell that thing is just it will make you cringe. People will try to repel you.
Yeah.
It's like it's like there is a MLM guy in your college. You don't want to join that multi-level marketing, but he comes to you. That's
My
that's the worst sell.
Yeah, my definition of marketing and sales is like different from each other. Like, what is marketing is like how many times you get your product out to how many peoples that you want it to. Like, the qualified people, the right message at the right time. That's marketing. Sales is just like filling the gap, that A to B transformation. So you do not create that A point; it's already there. The people are there at that point, and you also do not create the B point. It's like their desires. You just go to them and just summarize it. Okay, like this is how you're feeling. You want to get here, and this is what you're missing, and here's the solution. This is how we can bridge the gap. And if you want, like, come in. let's build a bridge for you. And they're like, oh my god, okay, build that bridge for me. And then they
Yeah.
pay, then you build it. That's it.
Anyway, guys, right now we are actually about to hit a time limit here. But before we went to our closing thoughts, let's show some appreciation for the audience who have joined us on the comments. So thanks to Amanda. Hello, Amanda. And Amanda went to Greek island for 12 years. I would like to go to Greek island, but not for 12 years. And then it's about you, Sanjay. Bro calls himself an introvert even after talking eloquently for
I
three
used to
straight.
be.
Yeah, you. Sanjay is not an introvert. I know that for sure. Like he can be shy for first couple of times, but after that, the way he will open up, you guys trust me. I have seen that. Then uh, we have Kevin saying yes, absolutely yes, Kevin, and Cindy Gold. So Cindy Gold says hi. So hi, Cindy from YouTube. And Cindy is a person I know her from Clubhouse for a very long time. And just for the just for a confession, once I had cloned her voice for my AI model. So in Clubhouse, I was presenting my AI model there to people, and they wanted a very sexy voice, and she was there, and I just cloned her voice.
Wow.
So
AI is scary, man.
like I can definitely share that voice with you, all of you guys, and if you guys will see that how that thing works. Like if you will compare Cindy's voice and the AI's voice, those are not too different. You will not be able to differentiate. And with that, we should definitely now move to our closing thoughts. So we will start with you, Kevin.
Yeah, so if there's one thing I would really take away from this, guys, if you guys are starting freelancing, another big mistake that people make, would actually argue this is the biggest. Stick to one skill. Stick to one skill, solve one problem, solve one issue, and then mass start marketing and selling. That's what I would suggest to people as well. And once you have that steady income coming in, once you have an agency, only then and only then are you allowed to start skill stacking. And with skill stacking, it's got to be relevant. So if you're going to learn how to be a ghostwriter, for instance, the next skill you should pick up is then email copywriting. So it's still in the sense of writing, but in a different form. And then if you're looking to start a social media management agency, maybe go from writing to then video editing. So always try to keep it relevant in your niche. And a lot of people make the mistake of trying to do a lot of things at once. And this goes far beyond freelancing. This goes in business or any skill. But for
Yeah.
freelancing, stick to one skill. For me, it's ghostwriting. Been doing it for a long time now. Well, 2 years, not a long time, but been doing it for 2 years. It's been some of the best years of my life. And couldn't be more thankful that I've had the opportunity to, be here on X and, build an audience and share my skill and, find amazing friends and, just ready for the future. And if you guys are not, following the community, make sure you guys go check it out. Harsh, Yash, Sanjay, and Singh have all been amazing people on here as well. So make sure you guys go subscribe, go check them out on YouTube. Uh,
Well,
Over to
for this option, like, world is so big. You have 500 options or even like millions, but you have to say no to 499 others to do that one thing. So focus is really important in business and in every side of it.
you know, I will speak at last. I really like people to get on tough spot. So over to
Mhm.
you, Abhinav.
So actually, I'm writing down everything that Kevin and her shared because this is a lot of good
Oh,
information.
you can rewatch the live stream. Don't miss this valuable moment. Live it. Feel
I
it.
think these are quick
You
notes.
can
Let's start.
increase our watch time on YouTube.
Uh, we also have transcription, Abhinav. Where are you?
Actually, these are some pointers because I am also planning to start freelancing soon. So these are definitely gonna to help me. And I really like the point that we should never drop our prices for just for clients. We should always value ourselves first, because in long term that the thing will not build a good relation with our client,
Mhm.
and even we won't be able to scale up our prices that much. So I really like that learning from here, and at this was a really nice talk, and a really nice guidance for me too. Like a lot of things that I have learned from here, and definitely I'm gonna apply it for my thing.
Mhm.
Yes, over to you, Sanjay.
And thank you for sharing your valuable insights. And yeah, I think that this stream is going to be so much helpful for our viewers, because most of the people will always think about where to what to do to make extra monies. So yeah, they should definitely check it out, because
Mhm.
look, if you are starting something, you are definitely going to do the mistakes. And we have a very good suggestions for the starters in this video.
Uh,
So yeah,
Over
it's
to
been a
you,
great
Yash.
experience.
Yeah, over to me. So I would say to take two key takeaways. First is like, first of all, about Kevin, do make sure to check him out. He is a ghostwriter for CEOs on X, and I absolutely enjoy his tweets. Like the way he write, it's not about so sweet and but he write controversial stuff, and I like what aligns with it. I engage with it. So make sure to check out his page. And the two key takeaways: first is like charge more, and if you cannot, then it's your problem, not the client's problem. So last year, the most amount of money I charged per client was fast $5,000, and this year I'm planning to shift it to $20,000 and more. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna talk about what I'm doing. So first takeaway: charge more, build that capability and assets and resources, which allow you to charge more. Second key takeaway: if you're struggling to the pricing and sales and all, then you are not clear about who you are selling to. They are not qualified, or either you are not qualified. So know that, first of all, do the research part. I mean, like, okay, you're here to make money, but make sure that you're targeting the right people and you are the right person to come up and solve that problem. That's my 2 cents and two key takeaways.
So before I speak, I would like to mention Muzi. Thank you so much, Kevin. The insights were incredible, especially about the free clients.
Those are not free clients.
There is no such thing as called free clients. Clients are always paid. Okay, either it's a donation or uh, either it's donation or begging. Trust me on that.
Well, it's not free in a sense because you're working for testimonials.
Mhm. By the way, Muzi, I really appreciate that you are so active in the community, and I'm really noticing. I would like to take a moment to mention this to all the any community member who is listening to us right now. That when the time comes, I am noticing that how much you are contributing, and at the right time, it will not get unnoticed. So, with that closing thought, there I have recently seen that there are many members who are having problems with notification from the group chat. So if you are having any trouble with the notification, make sure to join the community and you can turn off the group notification for your own comfort. But make sure to join the community before that, because next, like slowly one by one, we are actually moving. Like we were talking about pivot, so that is our pivot. We are moving to more and more community and more skillful uh, streams. And Kevin, this is neither the first time nor the last time we are going to stream together. Okay, we have
Awesome
spoken many
stuff.
times in the space, and let's
Yeah.
Yeah.
stream.
Before we wrap up, I have one idea of a question to discuss. So, Kevin, here's the problem. People are having problem, legit problem. It's legit, like too many notifications because our group is so active,
Hmm.
and there are about like 100 members who in a group chat on X, and that's becoming problems for some people. So
Okay.
what ideas, or what do you think, what you could suggest to solve this problem? Like, one idea that we have been thinking about, okay, sending them to community, but the community is different. Like a place to having chat and discussion, it's a group chat, but that's missing in the communities. Yeah, over to you.
What you're missing, it sounds like, is a reason for people to want to interact. The reason why, because we have the Startup Circle community group chat as well, and it's not as big as your guys' group chat. Like you guys have, you said close to 100 members. I have about 30 to close to 40 members in the Startup Circle community, and I also have other ones, but they're always super active in that. Now, why is that? It's because we're always having events, whether that is third-party events or we having our spaces always active. There's always things, coming up, so it gives people an incentive to really come back as well. But we need to understand too is that there are so many group chats in X, right? Like I myself am a part of like 8 other group chats. So to be able to really keep up to date with every single one of them, I ignore quite a lot of them too. And I like to turn off a lot of notifications, especially when I'm lacking in involvement as well. So to be very transparent and like brutally honest with you guys, like I'm not saying your guys is like I love, like, this call's been fun. I love the community. The group chat's been fun. I check up on it quite regularly. But yeah, if a lot of people tend to feel annoyed, that I would honestly say that they're just not as involved, and they just don't take it as seriously as maybe other group chats as well, because they have other devotions to other group chats, to other communities they're more devoted to. So if they're complaining, they just don't have as much devotion.
I feel the same way. So, and I'm going to take that. Like, the thing is, we are working on the reason right now. It will be revealed probably like in the upcoming week, that reason, but we actually don't speak about the things until unless it's completely ready to be used.
Of
So
course.
I believe that I can definitely post the timings on the group later, like at the end of the week. But before that, guys, with that feedback, we are closing the stream for today. Have a nice day. And this one is actually my favorite.
Oh, really? This one is my favorite. The
Oh my
crackers.
word.
Yeah.